Good morning, Moya. Um, Susan, I had my iPad turned up, which was foolish, so I've now turned it down. So hopefully I'm not echoing anymore. Good morning, Nikki. Yeah, I don't have any volume on. Yes, good. Yes, it was my iPad. I forgot to turn it down, and I need my iPad to be able to see your messages. So hopefully you're all okay. Sorry. Oh, just realised I haven't got the lights on for you, have I? No. Let's put some light on the subject for you. So you can actually hear the foghorns then, Susan, from where you are. Wow. Are they that loud or are you that close to the water? Okay. Oh, okay, Nikki. So is it foggy where you are as well, Nikki? How's that? Oh dear. Okay then. Oh, well, at least they can be heard. I guess it has to be louder, doesn't loud, so that it can travel over the waters. Morning, Helen. Oh, you're in the same area. Okay. Wasn't sure. I didn't know how far Susan had moved. So, yes, Susan. It's nice being near the water, though, isn't it? Nothing like being near water, I think. It's lovely. Hope you're okay, Helen. You're okay as well, Moya. Is it foggy where you are? Or is it sunny like it is here with me? It's sunny with there's a little bit of a mist. There is a little bit of a mist. Hopefully that'll burn off. Oh, that's good, Moya. Yes, it is frosty as well. Or so my neighbour has told me. Well, I'm looking out. I mean, obviously I saw it this morning. It was frosty. I've lost some of my flowers that flower in this time of the year. The frost has killed them. Or the frost has killed them off. It's very upsetting. Oh, excellent, Helen. That's good. Morning, Brenda. Foggy and sunny. Okay. Okay, Brenda. Best of both worlds there then. Hi, Sheila. Lovely for you to join us. I hope you're all well too. So have you got the sun, Sheila, or have you got the fog? Mm. It was very strange going to work yesterday because I left here and the sun was shining. And I only drove. I only have to go into Sway, which is what I don't know, 2.5, 3 miles away. And it was sunny, sunny, sunny. You turned into a certain street, and it was sunny, still okay. You went round the corner, and it became misty. It was all misty. Anyway, that's the weather for you, isn't it? Okay. I don't know how many more are joining us today, because I know a couple who can't make it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I don't know. I don't know if Nancy's with us. Lucinda will be joining us. Don't know about Nicola and Nikki. But I'll make a start anyway, as it's 10 o'clock. I don't know. So today, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to look at getting two cards made. I think we'll be able to get everything sorted out, so you'll be able to finish them even if we don't get them all finished in the class. One's pretty straightforward, but it's a Z card fold. So if I turn it over, you can see that we actually cut some of it away. Now, I'm not sure I asked you to get a pencil. So if you don't have a pen, I don't think I did I? If you don't have a pencil to hand, you might want to grab one, or even a pen. We are going to cut away from the line, so you're actually going to cut slightly in from the line, as you can see. So this is how we're going to do it. So we'll work on this, and we've got a little bit to do inside as well. And then this one, which we'll do the background on the gel plate, is the easel card. All right, now this does have quite a large buffer here. That usually it's not quite that thick, but I wanted to get that stamp on, so I just did that. I might do something different this time, or I may not. I am going to change the images up though. You know what I'm like. I like to bring in different images. And another one that I was playing with when I was doing this card was actually this topper as well. So it doesn't have to be all coloured in. I used a different stamp, as you can see, and then I flicked some paint. It was actually the inks, the same inks over it. But I don't know if you can actually see them that well. Let me just lift this up. If I lift it up, you can see the paint splatters, I hope. Ooh, that's not a good picture. Like that. Trying to get it. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see all that? So you can see the paint splatters. And I did them in the colours that we actually inked the sun up in. You don't have to do that. And then I did this kind of way as well, bringing in different stamps. So that's what I've done. Now we're going to do this one first. We're going to do the background first of the gel plate, so that we can pop it aside and have it drying off where we flicked a little bit of the water on, and then we'll come back to it so we'll know that it's definitely dry. Okay, and so whilst it's drying, we'll work on this card, and then we can put them all together. Thanks, Brenda. Right, so first of all then, we need the card. Now I've cut down the stencil card already. If you haven't, it doesn't matter, you can cut it down afterwards. And I've cut it to, this is the 14 by 14, I think this is what I cut this one to. Yes, so this is the 14 centimetre square card. All right, so we need our gel plate. We need some card. You might want to have a second piece of card to hand, to take a second print. For some, I got another one off last time, and that's how I did the holder. I actually used a piece of that card, so we kept the background going. So we can have a look at that. Oh, okay. Nikki's got a flat battery, so she's going to catch us up. That's Nikki Berry from Taunton. Oh, what's just happened to my... Oh, I've just lost something, but don't worry. Sort that out in a minute. Okay, sorry. Just lost the inner part of my mask. Not that we need it for this one. Okay, right. So we want the gel plate. You want your 14 by 14 card. You want a second piece of card to pull another print off of it. We need the brayer. And we're going to pop some inks onto the gel plate. Now, I'm using my Autonew inks today because I wanted it to be relatively paler going towards the top of the card, which is where I stamp the image, although this time I'm going to stamp a different image. So I'm still going to use paler colours. So I've actually used Autonew. They're dye-based inks. Any dye-based ink will be fine. All right. You don't have to have particular ones. It's whatever colour you want as well that measures in or complements the kind of picture that you're going to be doing. So I've just got those two colours. So, and I've got a piece of copy paper to clean my braille with. Right. So, everybody got that? Hi, Nicola. Good morning, Nicola. Oh, yes, Helen, I know. It's easy to forget to plug in sometimes, isn't it? So, what we're doing is ink first. And then, obviously, we need to brush those as well, or any watercolour, just to sprinkle onto there before we pull the print. Right, so all the bits and pieces are here, and I'm running out of room rapidly. Let's just put these things here for a minute. I'll just move that over there. I need that there so I can see it. Right, let's get going. So I'm going to make the base of the C slightly darker, so I use the blue. So with your inks, take it directly to the gel press. Okay, bring in a bit more blue. These are very light colours. In fact, you can hardly see that I've even done anything in here. Now, because I've gone darker into light, although they're both very light colours, I'm actually going to I'm going to turn the gel plate and start at the lighter colour end. So if you've used colours that are slightly darker, one's darker one and then the other's lighter, start at the light end first and then move in. If you go the other way, you'll take the dark colour up into the lighter colour. So that may not work for what you're actually doing. All right. So I'm just going to stand to do this. I have to stand. So I'm just going to come in with the edge of the brayer and then just smooth it down. If your gel plate's anything like mine, which is yellow, you can't even see the colour on there. You just have to judge that. You just have to know that the colour's there. And then I'm just going to take the ink off so I can clean my brayer. All right. So once we've got that bit done, we can then bring in the brushos that I've got here, or any watercolour. In fact, your dye-based inks will do exactly the same thing. So if you don't have brushos or anything that I'm going to use here, you can use your dye-based ink on your mat. Just give it a little bit of water, and then you can pick that up with your fan brush and flick it on, and it will do exactly the same thing. Hi, Lucinda. So that's what you can do if you don't have the brushos that I'm about to use. All right. So there are ways around it. You don't have to have everything to hand. We have used brushos in the class before, so you may have some, but it's not a problem if you haven't. So I'm going to take my fan brush. Now mine doesn't have to be wet because I've got a liquid already in here in my little bowl. I don't know if you remember me. We've used these before in the class. So I've got my little holders already with the brushos watered down. So I'm just going to put the fan brush in there and then tap it against your finger. Then I'm going to try the other colour. Put some blue in. There we go. That should be enough. Just put that there. Put the lids on here. I'm just going to move that out of the way. Right, so with the paint flicked everywhere, just going to tidy up as we go. So I'm going to take my first print, which will be on the card cut to size, unless you've got two cut to size, which is fine. And then I'm going to flip it over. If you don't have your gel plate on one of these acrylic blocks that we got from Clarity, then take the card to the gel plate itself. So go the other way around. So go like that and rub it over. You might want to put some copy paper on because it is smaller that we've cut. If you're on your mat, if you're on the acrylic mount, we can just flip it over and snap. Press it down. Hi, Nicola or Nikki. Okay, Lucinda, sorry. Hang on a minute. So you take, I had it with a fan brush. So if you haven't got little tubs for your brushes, pop a few onto your mat, water them down, and then put your fan brush in. Okay? So you can do it. Hang on, I just have to get some brushes out. You can do it the same way as with the dye-based inks. So you can just put some on your mat, either squidge it or squitz it with water from a thingy bobby, spritzer bottle, or just use your fan brush. Make sure you've got enough water, and then you'll be able to flick in the same way. Don't know if you can see that. Oh no, the first layer is dye-based ink. So I added some dye-based ink to the gel plate and then braided it, going light across to dark. That's what I did first. Okay, so the first layer is your dye-based inks. So I was brayering on the gel plate. Okay, you got me. Good. So yeah, so the dye-based inks onto the gel plate, then brayer, then add your brushes, and then pull your print. Is everybody okay with that? I need to mop that up. Okay, let's see what's happened with my print. And then put it, and then those of you, and then, I don't know, you can spritz it a little bit if you want. We can spritz it again, lightly, and then see if there's anything else to pull. Sometimes you can get a second print, which is what I did do when I was doing it before. Flip it over. Oh, what's on there? The mat's wet. And it's very pale, but there is something there. It's not white. I don't know if you can see it. Gosh, this is really dark for you, isn't it? Because of the... Let me see. Can I don't know if you can see that there is actually a print there. If I angle, I'm going to move the camera. Hold on, guys. I'm going to angle it slightly to see if you catch more of the light that's coming off of my other light that I've got on. So I don't know if that helps in any way. So you can actually see the second print. Okay. So we're just going to put both of these. So there you go. There's the first one, which looks kind of cool, actually. I can't. So it'll go that way. So it's going up. So it is very pale at the top here now. Just a bit of colour in there, going clear. So it's like we're going up. So we're up nearer the sun up this end and further in the water that end. On this particular one, it depends what colours you're doing because of what stamps you're doing. Okay, so probably is dry already, but if we just move it out the way to make sure it's completely dry, and then we can leave them to dry, pop your pad out the way, and we can work on this card. So we're going to work on these cards. So we're going to do these two pieces now. All right. So the first thing, let's work on our front piece, which I cut as 12 centimeters squared, and then the other one is the 11, so that It makes sure that the other bit's hidden. So I put that there so I don't forget it, because I probably will. And this time we're going to position our sun mask in. Now I'm going to give you a minute to catch up with me. So I'm just going to position this. And then I'll wait for you all to catch up with me. How high should we go? I'm doing a different stamp, so I'm going to do the boy. So let's decide where you want it. Yeah, I think that's fine. Doesn't have to be dead center. I'm going to move mine over a little bit. I think it's time. Lucinda, which one are we talking? Are we talking about the Z card now? The orange one. So we're talking about this one. This front piece is the 12 by 12 centimeters. Right, so this is 12 by 12, and then the inside piece is 11 by 11 centimeters. Okay. Yes, Moya. This one is the 12 centimeter square piece of card. Okay. So 12 by 12 on the front and 11 by 11 inside. Okay. Yeah, I have got the larger piece. Okay, now, oh, there it is. And I probably didn't mention that I'm just going to protect the rest of my card with Post-it notes. So I don't know if you want to just do, you might not need to. I don't know how big your mask is. So I'm just going to go over, which is, hopefully that it's just to protect the card. I am going to use makeup style brushes here as well. Okay. So I'll give you all a few minutes to catch up. You're going to need your inks. So you want your 12 by 12 centimeter card, your aperture masked off or open for you, the rest of the card masked off and protected, your blending tools and your inks. And again, I've used dye-based inks. I haven't used oxides for this. I've gone with the inks today. It's all dye-based ink day today. So is everybody ready at this point? Okay, we all here? Excellent. Okay, thank you, Moya. All right. Thanks, Nikki. I'll give you all a moment to make sure your card's all covered up. And we're only going to work on the aperture. Thank you, Susan. Thanks, Helen. I don't know what had TP means, Lucinda. Oh, had to find some copy paper. Okay. No problems. No problems. We've got plenty of time. Okay. Is everybody there? Sheila okay? Everybody else ready? You're okay, Nicola? Thank you. Good. Hopefully everybody's at this point. Okay. So we're going to start off with the lighter colour first. Although I probably put these the wrong way around. I'm going to change these. No, it doesn't really matter which way they go, but the red is up the top on my little son. It's over towards the left side of it. That's fine. Right, so I'm going to just ink up and we're going to blend on. So whichever way you're going to apply this, however you're going to do it, always start away from the aperture. So just gently, even if it's on the paper, on the mask itself, and then come in. We can always build up the colour. But this way we'll get a smoother finish rather than plonking the ink in. We might get, especially with the red, which did happen with me actually, you might put a large piece down. So it's better to build up the layers of colour slowly. And I'm going to leave the top open for the minute. So I'm just going to leave this top left bit alone. So that's where I'm going to add in the red, but we will go back over. So I'm just smoothing it in, getting a very light, it's not applying it with the brushes, you get a very light touch as well. You can get darker finishes with the blending tools. I've decided to use these just to give a different effect. And you can still bring in darker colour around the edges. So gently build up the colour. And then I'm going to bring in a little bit of the red, which is very dark. So a little bit of red. Take a little bit off. And then come in. And again, we can build up the colour. It looks way too pale now. When you look at applying the brushes and then actually see the build up on the post-it note, which does have a yellow background, so it is going to be slightly different colour anyway. Talking of colour, have you seen the new Distress colour? Kitsch Flamingo, if you haven't. And yes, it is that colour. Design, or the colour was inspired by the plastic garden ornaments that you get, the flamingos that you can get, which everybody likes to laugh at, but then they come a bit chic, so everybody wants one. Not that I have one. So it is that kind of a pink. Not the first colour I would ever choose. However, from the demos that the ladies have done, it was used in all sorts of craft. So it was mixed media, it was gentle, just adding a touch of colour, and it works incredibly well with brown and blue, which pink does anyway. And it does fit it. That particular colour pink, as it is, was missing from the colours, because it went from you had candy, is it sugar soft, or what? I can't even remember what it's called now. Spun sugar or something. Spun sugar, I think, which is quite a pale pink. Worn lipstick, which is more of a bluey pink, and then you had the picked raspberry, which was a cerise. So now we've got pink. It does look a fun colour to use, though, as I say, clearly not, it wouldn't be my first choice. But I think it will work lovely with blues and browns, so we can definitely get it to work very nicely. So I'm just going over this again. I'm bringing the red, the yellow over the red, bringing in the colour until you're happy with what you've got. And I think I am. Okay, we will come back to do a little bit more when we edge the card. So we will come back to doing this, the edging around the card and on this piece, when we've done the rest of the stamping. Okay. So just put them to the side for 1 minute with the brushes. And then peel this away. Now, what we need to do with this piece of card is try and keep the back as clean as possible. It doesn't matter if you don't. But because it actually flips, should anybody decide to take a look at the back, this way around, or when they open the card, you'll see it, sorry. So because it opens like that, anything on this part of the card is going to show. So this is not the original back, because I actually stamped something, didn't like it, and turned it over, forgetting that you'd actually see it. So I've had to cut a piece to fit. There you go. This is what I did. So it doesn't matter if we get anything on there, because we can cut another piece of card just to cover it. It's not going to create complete havoc. But if you want to try and keep it as clean as possible, then that's great. It would save you having to cut another piece of card. So I'm just going to move that out of the way, and we'll clean that off later. So hopefully you've got something sort of, well, like this, where it's positioned wherever you want to position it, because it's your card. It's entirely up to you where you put it. Okay. So we should all be somewhere like that now. All right. So I think I'm just going to wipe my hands a minute. I've got a little bit of ink on there. Might as well stay tidy, mightn't we? And the wipe I'm using is plant-based, plastic-free, and biodegradable. So I am trying to be mindful. So that's that. Just dry our hands a little bit. So off we go then. Everybody at this point ready to stamp? I am going to use my stamping platform for this. We should be all right without it, but I'm still going to use it. I have changed my ink, so I've got a really wet, juicy VersaFine Clear. So I'm just going to look at that. Let's turn this over. Let's turn this over. And bring the card in place. And then I think this is dry, but just in case there's any ink left on it, although there shouldn't be, there's nothing coming off my hand. I just use a plastic bag while I'm doing this. So if you want to use a stamp and you're not sure if it's completely dry or clean, even, I always put a plastic bag underneath it, and then you can just position it without marking the card. So I think we're going to go. Actually, you're in the way, Magnet. I think we might just go like that. I think that's good. So think about where you want to put the main image on your card. We'll do that. I'll just switch it to this one up. There we go. And then ink up and stamp, however you're doing this, with or without a block. What is that? Just spotted something in the stamp. I don't know what that is. Oh dear. That would not have looked very good on the image, was it? So stamping 101, make sure your stamp's clean. I think that's all right now. Just going to check that. Hopefully it's all right. Okay, guys, I'm going to stamp this onto a piece of copy paper. Ow! As I've just been attacked by magnets. I'm worried. I haven't used this stamp for a while. I just grabbed it this morning. So I'm not sure how it's going to stamp. Let's have a look. There's a bit of hair. On the edge. Right. Okay. I'll try that again now. Wipe my hands. And then my magnets are all stuck together. Oh, what a fun day. Hopefully you've now stamped yours. And you've got your image all nicely stamped. So it was worth double checking that it was going to stamp properly. There we go. Right. Be with you in a minute. There we go. So if you've done that, I have that stamped. Yep, that's okay. Put more over there. That'll do fine. To be fine. Right, okay then. So I'm going to put that out the way. And then, because this is a new ink pad, I'm going to blot. You might have to blot anyway, but I'm definitely blotting. And I know that this is going to be very wet. And then we're going to take the other stamp. So in this case, I'm going to be using this stamp. It's drying relatively quickly. So I'm going to then use this stamp, and I will put it on a block this time. And decide where I'm going to put the positioning in. So we have a look at the first card, the original. We can see that I've put it opposite corners. Then we could do something the same here. So how much do I want peeking through and how much do I want hanging down? I'll do it at a different angle this time. Might actually come across twice on this. Okay, so have a look and see how it fits. Oops, make sure the stamp is attached to the block. Just gonna right. That's better. So we can come in and we can do a bit stamping. Okay, so let's have a look. So we could go slightly higher with that one. Okay. Now, how will that look? Come down a little bit. Maybe not. I'll have a look in a minute. Let's see how this looks. Might just stamp off. Okay, I think I'm going to do. I'm going to stamp it off a little bit, and then perhaps come. I don't know what this is going to look like. I guess we're about to find out. Oh yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Okay, so this block. Now we do need this bit dry because we're going to then add the inking around the edges. But before we do that, we'll stamp it up the card that's going inside the card. Give them all a chance to dry off a bit. Okay. This is a lot damper this time, or a lot wetter. Damper. It's a lot wetter, this ink. So we get this nice and blotted. Okay, that should be all right. And then I'm just going to take the inside piece of the card and I'm going to add some decoration to one side because this is where you're going to write. So it's just to make it cohesive with the outside, with the outside image. Let's get that out of the way. So that when we open the card, then it's then all connected. So I'm just going to do this rather than at an angle. I'm going to come up this time, slightly off the card, and then just stamp. Okay. So how are we all doing? Are we all at this point? So if you can let me know if you stamped everything. There we go. It's not too bad. And then just blot it all off if you need to. I might have to give mine a little waft with my heat gun, just because it is so juicy, it being a new pad. Right. Okay. Let's have a look how. Now, if you get a little bit of ink in that doesn't go quite how you like it, there's a couple of ways you can fill it in. You can either use a fine line pen. I get a very faint one, and you can go in with it and then just dot it. So I just do little dots. So you can go that way. The other way is to take a very fine paintbrush, maybe one that you're not using anymore. And the reason for that is that you then, so you have an old paintbrush, you then actually take the ink onto the brush. So can you see what I'm doing? So there's a couple of ways, should it just miss a little bit like mine did. And then you can dot a bit more ink, except this brush, I need it into a bit of a point. So trying to roll it, you roll it over the ink, get a little point, and then you can just go in and then just use little dabbing motions to fill in any spaces. There's a couple of ways, okay? You can do that. Should that happen. And sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, depends how much it misses, that sometimes it's always worth. Oh no. I'm going to try and wrap that mark off. Fine. There we go. Showing you how to correct everything today, aren't I? So let's get that bit of ink off me. So you should now have a piece of card for your inside and your stamped image for the front of your card. Is everybody at that point? Can you let me know? Are we all at that point? Great, thank you. I'm sure you've been sitting here waiting for me now. Excellent, thank you very much. Thank you. So now what we're going to do, excuse me, I had to have a bit of water there, is add the colour around the edges. So we're just going to do the vignette around the sides. Okay, now regardless of what blending or tool I'm using to apply any ink, I always take a bit of card. I always start at the corners as well. So use a piece of paper to hold the work, and then I start at the corners and come down. And spin it. This is where you hope this is dry. And then you spin it again, just the corners. Coming out a little bit. Spin it. And again, do a few turns off the mat first. So ink off the topper, so you work your way onto it. There you go. And then back over any area that you think needs some more. So maybe down the sides. That's how I do it. I find it easier that way. There we go. And once you've done one, hopefully that's that. As we can see, mine's nice and dirty. So I will have to cover mine. You can then do the piece that's going on the inside of the card as well. So start off into the card, and then I just move it for each corner. There we go. And then come up across to the sides to meet the other corner. And continue until you've got the right colour. So you've got enough of the colour that you want on there. There we go. I think I'm happy with that. Right. So we should have 2 pieces like that. Similar. So stamped and inked. Let's get that stamp. Put that over there. All right. So we should have something like this. 2 pieces of card like this. Okay. Let me know when you're ready. Thank you, Nikki. So just say, oh, give me a thumbs up or a yes or anything like that. See how we're doing. Right. It's okay, Moya. Others are finishing off as well, so. Thank you, Nicola. Thanks, Helen. Thanks, Brenda. Thanks, Susan. It's all right. Technical hitches are allowed, Brenda. I have them all the time. Thanks, Lucinda. Okay, most of us are there, aren't we? Hopefully Sheila's okay. Right. So now we're at that part. We're going to work on the base of the card. Now I've already prepped all of this, but I will take you through it, exactly what I've done. So you take the piece of card that you want these to fit with. So in this instance, I'm going to now use red. I'm using, instead of the orange, I've gone for the red this time, just changing things up a bit. So actually, I might do it that way. So you may have a piece of card already folded, or you may have a piece of card that hasn't been folded. Where? Okay, Moya. Yeah, spun sugar is very light, very light. So it's good that you can build the colour up. So I know I said you wanted a 14.8 by 14.8 card base. Has everybody got that folded in half? Okay. So this is a 14.8 square, which isn't quite 6 inches. 15 centimetres is 16 inches, which you can't cut from an A4 sheet of paper because it's not 30 centimetres long. It's only 29 point whatever it is. So it is always just under the 6 inches, and it's the envelope that is 6 inches. So what we should have then is a piece of card cut so that you get a 14.8 card base in whichever colour, or you've got a ready-made card base. It doesn't really matter either way. So what we're going to do then is we score down the middle of the front panel. So we need to measure in between what the middle is. Now, because I made it 14.8, it's 7.4. See, I made it easy for you rather than adding the 14.85, whatever it was, for the exact figure. So in that instance, once it's all marked off, I actually did mark it with a pencil because this thing, I swear, isn't cutting properly, but anyway. So at 7.4, you can then mark it out if you've got a scoring tool, or, which I tend to use anyway. Eek, can you see this? I'm going to have to go sideways, aren't I? So I've got a scoring tool here, which is very fine. So what I tend to do is go over it, except I'm going the wrong angle for me now, and just use the thread. If you don't have a scoreboard, if you have the scoreboard, although you won't get a 14.8 score, you can position your card so that it fits down one of those score lines. It's up to you. But what we need to do is score the front of the card. And I score both ways. So I then turn it over and score that way, and then turn it over again and score. So the card, the fibres should hopefully bend, should I say, without breaking too much. And once you've got that, we'll then fold it back towards the fold of the card. So we need to get it scored first. I'll give you a moment for. So whether you've made up your own base or you're using a pre-cut card base, we need to score down the centre of the top. So we're scoring down the centre of the opening flap. Front of the card, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for. So we're scoring down the front of the card. Now we've done Z cards in the past. We've done the different folds. And I was watching Jennifer Maguire, and she actually did this floating one. So this is where I've taken it from. It's inspired by Jennifer to try this. So when you're ready, we're then going to fold the card along the score back towards the score line on the card. What is it? The edge, the back edge of the card. And I'm going to use the bone folder just to make it extra smooth. Okay, so we want that kind of finish. If you're worried about the card marking with the bone folder, then you can use a piece of copy paper over the top, and it stops the marks going on. I think I've got some ink on my mat still, because I didn't clean it up, did I? No. I did not clean up after the yellow. Good job I'm not using a white card base. There we go. I don't think this has picked it up, thankfully. Right. So we should have a piece of card looking like this, with the folded back front. So I need you to let me know when you're at this point, because I need you all to follow me for the next bit. Or it might be easier if you do. Right, it will fold flat eventually. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Nikki, Brenda, and Moya. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Nicola. Or Nikki, this time again. Okay, I'm hoping everybody's going to be sort of ready here. And Sheila is as well. And whoever else is with us, because I know there's more watching. So whoever's watching, welcome. What we need to do is... I've changed my... Oh, Lucinda. What we need to do is take our topper. So whatever's going to be the main image for the front of your card. That's all right, Sheila. Okay, so you take your topper and decide where you want it positioned. So I'm going to have to turn this around a minute. So have it facing you. So we want it pretty much in the centre. You can either eyeball it, or if you prefer, you can get your ruler out and have a measure it up. But what we want is in the centre. And you need to be happy with where it is, because we're about to cut the card. Okay? So what we're going to do now is where you've got it positioned. Oops. So she moves it. Well done, Angela. So where you've got it positioned, you might want to, if you've got it to hand, I mean, I didn't do this before, but since this is moving, I'm just going to stick it down for a minute. Then take a pencil and gently just draw around the outside, the outside of your card that is on the folded bit. Okay, so only half of it. So we're just going to draw around. Like so. So we're just going to draw around it. And then, as you can see, we've got the pencil mark where the card is going to sit. We're now going to cut inside the pencil mark. So just inside the pencil mark, we're going to cut, and then along the fold to meet where you've cut. So we need to cut inside this pencil mark. All right, like this. Actually, I've got two pairs of scissors here. So we're going to cut within the pencil mark, which of course I've used a red card base and black pencil, so you probably can't even see what I'm doing, can you? So if I put a bit of white on the line, okay, so you can see that the line is here. All right, so I've got white pencil on the red so you can see it. So we're going to cut inside. So basically we're cutting that bit off. Now I'm going to use my larger scissors for this bit. So we're just going to cut inside. Not just a couple, a millimetre or two inside. And then again, exactly the same for the other side. Oh, I need to cut that. Yeah, that bit will come off in a minute anyway. And then, oops, just inside. Try and get it as straight as possible because it will be seen. Yeah, that's not too bad. And then cut along the folds, the fold lines. Like we do when we're making boxes and things. So you're left with that shape here. Okay, so we've got that shape on both sides. Now, I don't think mine's particularly square, but what we should find now then is when we put this back on, it fits over. Now, they haven't been cut properly here. I'm just going to neaten these up a bit. So have a look. See if yours needs any neatening up or anything. Probably not. Okay. So we've got that shape, and then our card is going to be glued over that bit. Oops, like that. Does that make sense? So that it's still half and half. If you think you haven't cut, if you think you want to cut a fraction more of the card away, then please do. And then so what we've got to do is glue this part of the card onto this bit of the red. All right, that's what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to put the glue on the red bit, and then we just gives a little bit of wiggle room to get it even, okay, to get it centered. So that's the next bit. So we need to glue it. I'm going to be using PVA glue, and we just want it on these bits here. Oops. So we just want it here. If I can get any glue out. Don't tell me it's dried again. Okay, poke it all to the rescue then, by the looks of it. My very thin one. Yeah. For some reason, this glue has started to dry a fraction. Only just around the... Aha. That's it. And then eventually when you free it, it comes pouring out. Right, got it out. I've got what was stopping it out the way now. So here we go. We're just going to add some glue. And then we're going to position this. So I am going to stand up again for this. So we get it so that we think it's pretty centered. Oops. There we go. And then, what was the time? Oops. Right, there we go. And you should have, probably need to let it flatten down really. So, put some paper while we're pressing down. And you should have a card that opens like that now. Okay. And then, as I said, we might have to cut it. I'm not going to do this right now, but what I will do is I need to cut a little piece of white card there. All right. And you may want to as well. It's entirely up to you. Might even be able to get that off. What we now need to do is put the area that we're going to write in, so a little insert. I think I'm going to have them coming down actually, rather than going up. I need to make up my mind. Oh no, that looks all right. We'll go that way. So you want this positioned so that it is hidden by the topper, which is why it's a fraction shorter. Okay. So again, we want it kind of centered. That's probably roughly where it is. Yep. And then we need to glue that back in. So we could do it this way. Now that you've got it on the card, and hopefully it won't move. And then glue it. It was always going to move, wasn't it? And then position it so it goes back in this way. Don't press down on the glue until you're ready. So we want it straight and we want it even, Angela. That would look good. And if you think that's about right, or it's where you think it should be, it's where you like it and it's covered, then you can glue it down. And then to make sure it's attached, I always use a piece of paper now, so that we don't put finger marks all over it. There you go. And that's the first card. Done. So hopefully you've all got a card similar to this. There we go. All right. So that's that one. And then we're going to move swiftly on to the next card. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to finish that one. And then we'll move on to our next one, which is the Easel card, which I've just glamorously thrown on the floor. Oops. Let me know when you finish that card, please. It's interestingly parked. My neighbours are doing some manoeuvring of their cars over the road. Okay. Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Moya. Thank you, Lucinda. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Nikki. Brilliant. Right then. So we now move on to the other card. So the Easel card. I'm going to make up the Easel card. Now again, I've changed the colour that I'm using, but that's fine. So I've gone with a, I don't know what it's called, Paul something or other. No, yeah, something like that. When I was doing Stampin' Up, this was the colour that I always went to. These two colours, I just loved them. But I don't do that anymore. So what we're going to do then is decorate our topper. Now this is going to take a little bit longer because of colouring in. So I may, you may need to finish this off. I'll go through building up the card. I think most of you probably know how to do the Easel card. Because we have done them before, so I think you're probably okay, but we'll go through everything anyway. So we've got stamping this one up now. So it's putting together the imagery that you want on this piece. And this time round, I am going to use the whale. So I'm going to use this whale stamp from All and Create. All right. So I've used the octopus. I'm now going to go with the whale. Which of course I haven't used before. Since he's so glorious, I don't know why I haven't gotten around to using him before. Now, does he fit on here? Yeah, he does. Ooh. I've got something on my stamp. What is that? Okay, I'll be giving this a clean anyway. So pull your. This might be all right. Going this way. That's pretty straight, isn't it? There's writing on this one. Okay, so think about your layout. Think about where you want to put your main image, and then stamp him up. This is what I'm going to do now. So let's get the ink on. Now I am just going to do a quick stamp off first. just to make sure it's stamping properly. Yep, that's a nice image. So ink him up. And then taking my topper, I'm going to decide where I'm going to put him. So I think we're going to go right. Should we go this way? Up, down. Let's go this way. Let's come lower down, I think. There we go. Maintain the contact. Give it time for the ink to blend. There we go. It's not too bad there, is it? Let's put this to the running out of room. Put that to the side. So have you got your image? Now with the octopus, and it depends on the kind of stamps you've got to hand, I did actually stamp some bubbles. Okay, using, now it doesn't matter which stamp set. If you're going to do something like this, whatever other stamps you've got, then you can look to use to put some background stamping in. So I've used bits of this stamp. And I'm going to pop a few more on here using the inks that I created the background with. So it doesn't matter what stamps you're going to do. I'm just going to put in a few extra layers, really. Okay. So it's just the little bits of the stamp. I need my cloth to clean it off. So I'm just inking up portions of the stamp. Depending on what you want to use, then just use, you don't have to use the whole stamp as we've done before. So we can just then stamp little portions of them to bring in, which colour did I just use? The blue. Different parts of the stamp. So I did a couple of the singles. I did a couple of the doubles over here. Just building it up that way. So you can take any background stamp and build it up. All right. Just going to do a couple of these in the different colours, in the two colours. The marks that you've got anyway from the brushes or the ink that you added to your gel plate is going to give you a kind of, if you've gone with the nautical theme, it fits in with this. It fits in with anything, actually, that kind of background. It doesn't have to be that. And it's something that we'll do again. Those, if you want to go through and do the Lavinia stamping, I need to work out which stamps you want. Those of you that want to use them, do you have any already? Do you have a particular... The thing with the Lavinia stamps is they don't come as a stamp set. You have to buy them all individually. So it's a case of which set should we actually get, or which couple of stamps, if you want them. So I'll email you, I think, because we'll have to have a little think how we want to do that one. For those of you that want to do it, you don't have to use Lavinia stamps, obviously, with whatever we're going to do. You can use any stamp you like. It would need to be a silhouette stamp, though, on the whole, probably, maybe, depending on what we choose, because right, I think that's fine. How many green have I got? 1, 2, yeah, 3. That's fine. It doesn't matter if other bits have touched it. Now, because this stamp has got a couple of the splatters around it, I'm actually going to do a few additional splatters with my very well used ink pad here. Ink pad stamp. Again, I'm going to add a few from in the same colour. Let's have a look. Let's go down here and use these. And because they're used there, you can go in and use some extra splatters. Actually, I think I'll use these. It doesn't really matter how much we get other bits and pieces on there from these stamps. We go in again. And I'll do a couple in the green. It's just a way of just adding up the different layers. I'm going to stick to the thing of using the colours that I've continued to use, though we could add more in the black. I'm going to add something different in the black in a minute. So we're just building up the layers. Okay. And then, because this particular stamp has got the hexagonals around it, I'm going to use some hexagonals just to frame it. So on here, you'll see that I've framed it. So you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you how you can just bring in extra layers, if you like, and extra texture through using the different stamps. Again, this is... I normally have been using the square and the round ones quite a bit. But then I noticed this lovely little whale has got some hexagonals on it, so I'm going to do them and see how that works out. I need lots more practice with this if we're going to do this. So let's have a look. So we could go just there. I think they use their thumbs, don't they, more? Where do we want it on our whale? So we could have a little bit here. Just go in with a few here. That's a bit better. Have a few here. And then a couple more by the whale. So we could build it up. And then we can add some colour. So if you want to do that, we can start colouring in the image. Again, I'll just make sure it's blotted. And then we can colour in. Okay. So I'm going to use my pro markers. I'm going to use my polychromos to colour my image in. This is now the point. If you want to add extra texture, because like on the on this card, because he had it, I did actually cut the hat out again, but that's only because of the image of the stamp. If there's any part of your stamp that you think you could cut out and colour, and you want to just lay it up to give it a little bit more interest, then feel free. Of course you can do that. What I'm going to do at the moment, though, is I'm just going to colour this one in, and then we'll make up the card. So I don't know what images you're using or how you're going to do this, do I? So this is, do that colour. That can be for that. Trying to think whether I go even lighter. I might use this one for a minute and then use this as a dark one. Okay. Now, depending on what you're filling in, you could use the pencil strokes like I'm doing here, or you can do very soft ones. It really doesn't matter. Or if you're using watercolour, you might want to lay a thin colour down first. And then go in darker in certain areas of your stamp where there's going to be shadow. Here we go. Just as we build up the colour. And again, I'm going to lean on a piece of paper. I think we could safely say that this would have been a lot quicker to colour in watercolour. Right, that bit there is going to mainly be the darker piece anyway, so we can stop that bit there. And of course the idea is that we build colour up if we're using these. If any of you have got the Inktense pencils, then you could lay down the colour and then paint with them, and then add the water to bring the colour up, so you get greater depth. And what I like as well is that you've got the gel plate background is still coming through on these pencils. You can see, I don't know that you'll see it on the camera. I don't know. But here I can actually see, I don't know if you can see it. I might angle this to the light. I don't know. around here you can still see, I'm not sure you can see it. Oops. Oop, if I go that way, there is slightly darker ink coming through. The paint's coming through from the brush shows. So you can actually still get the texture, which I quite like as well. So I'm doing it very light colour all over to start with. And then we're around his eye here. Or her eye, of course. Could be a girly. I'm wondering whether it'd be quicker to do it this way. Probably. Build up the depth of colour. Okay. So how are we all doing? I'm conscious of the time, so I might just finish him off later. And when colouring, even with watercolour pens actually, the further up the shaft you hold it, whichever one it is, the lighter the colour is, because you don't put as much pressure. So you can put a lot more pressure holding it like this than you can holding it up high like this. So depending on what you're using, if you just want a very light colouring, you've got polychroma certainly. Right, and I'm just going to bring in and look at your image to determine where the darker bits go. So obviously we've got some shadow here. And where you think it would be, so under the flipper. Those of you that are interested in All and Create, I don't know if you saw that they were on TV yesterday. I was working, so I couldn't see it. It's lonely, but they are back in again on Monday. They're back on again. So I think the Janet Klein stamps were on yesterday from an email that I got from All and Create today, which I'm sure some of you have got as well, if you've bought from them. Seems like they sold out of a lot of stuff, but they're bringing some of it back on Monday. Okay then. So, can you let me know, have you finished your colouring? Are you doing your colouring? Are you not colouring? Because you don't have to. So you're just twiddling your thumbs while you're waiting for me. Could you let me know what you're doing? And then I can go along accordingly. Now what you also need is stamps for your stopper, your little stopper on the easel card. which we haven't stamped yet, have we? Okay. All right, colour it. Stamp the pink ink seahorse. Yes, you could very well be doing that, Helen. Okay, Susan and Nicola, thank you. You are colouring. I think what we'll do, I'm looking at the time, so I don't want to keep you over the 2 hours, really. You're ready? Okay, Nikki. There's lots more I'm going to do on here, including adding some glitter to the water as well. So I'm going to be doing that on mine, and I can post it later. I'll finish it and post it with in the blog. Oops. But what I'm going to do is we just need to stamp what's going to become our little holder. And this time round, I'm going to now before, I mean, I cut out the little saying, find the pearls in life's ocean. What I'm probably going to do is restamp the go with the flow and put that up there as well, so it's actually on twice. And what I'm going to do is take just one of these shells, I think this time, not the whole strip. So before I used, where is it? Oh. Which other bit did I use before? I used the square. Well, that's clever. I used the other shells. Yeah, I did. What the heck have I done with that then? Oops. Oh well. I don't know how I could have. Not have that stamp set because it's part of this stamp set, so I don't know. Oh, are you all yelling at me through the camera saying it's in front? I know, Lucinda. I'm just going to pull you off the colouring for a minute to finish off the rest of the card, and then we can go back. Those of us that haven't finished can go back. Yes, I was looking for that, which is right in front of my face. But what I think I'm going to do is use part of this as the... which one shall I use as my stopper? I don't know. Pick your stamp that you need to use for your stopper. You can have a thin one. You can have a larger one, which is what I've got on here. Whoops. Like this. So that's the area, and again, it probably would be coloured in unless you're just going to use a strip of words. You might have a different saying. You might have something that you want to say happy birthday on, or it could be happy anniversary or congratulations, or thank you, any kind of sentiment that you want afterwards to actually stamp. So I'm just going to go with I'm just going to take one of the shells off of here. I'm going to do a smaller one this time. There we go. Oh, what have I done with my block? There we go. So I'll go through all of this so you've all got it when you're ready. So I'm going to see, this has got some more splatters as well on it. But I know the text is not going the right way for my little stopper. I'm going to do it on a thinner piece of card now. Oh, I'm not going to do it on that at all. If you pull back the second print you took from the gel plate, if you stamp your stopper on that, you've then got the same kind of background coming in. Ooh, this is still very, where's that been that's so wet? Oh, it's been leaning on that. So pick a piece of the card that you think would work, if you've got enough colour coming back off of it. And then I'm just going to stamp. I think we'll go there. I'm not going to take all of this stamp, so that's fine. So yeah, this is a bit damp, so we'll take that off there. Leave that to dry for the moment, and then I'll go over the card. So again, you've got a 14.8 card base. Either you've made one up or you've got one that's already made up. Doesn't really matter. And again, you do exactly the same as we did on the other one, and you score down the centre of the front. So you find the centre of the front and score again. All right, so that's what we need to do. So we score down there and then fold that back. Oh, in actual fact, you fold it inwards this time. So you fold it inwards so that you end up with a kind of a tent frame like this. I think most of you know how to do this easel card. All right. So it's a 14.8 square base, and you score in the middle again, and you actually then fold it inside. So you go inside the flap this time as opposed to folding it outwards. All right. So those of you that are following me, that's what you should end up with. So it's a 14.8 again. Score down the middle and fold inside the card so that it then sits nicely as a tent shape. So you have that kind of a shape on the edge. All right. You then have another piece of card, which is 14.8 centimetres. So, or it's the same size as your card base anyway. So whatever that is. So whatever your card base is, you need a piece of card the same size as your card base, depending on if you're using a pre-made one. All right. So that it folds flat. And then this part of the card, this piece, which is 14.8 in this case, then glues onto this base here. All right. Now, depending on what you're doing, you could have it cut slightly shorter, which is fine. And so it would sit layered like that. So you could have it like that. But my idea is that, look, we layer this one up. So we're going to layer them like this. So once your colouring is finished, and this is then glued down, you would then glue all of this to the bottom half of this triangle here. So you would glue this bit down here. All right. So I'm just going to do that because I can colour this when it's glued down anyway. So glue down your layer, your topper. And position that where you'd like it. I think that's about right. And glue into place. And then this topper is glued to this bottom half only. All right, so it's the same kind of thing we did with the Z card, but we're going the other way. We're folding it the other way because it's going to stand up this time as opposed to the card being folded backwards. So you glue this part here. You just glue this bit here. You can see. So this bit here, and then you layer your card down so that it is square to your base card. So it should be completely square to your base card. And then press. And there you go. You then fold it up this way. So now we need the stopper. So that's what we do. Okay. So the base of this card is almost the same as the Z card base. So you make it 14.8 card base. You score along the center of the front and you fold it in towards the fold this time, not backwards. So we fold in and you then use another piece the same size as your card base, which is 14.8 in this instance. Layer up your topper and then you glue to the bottom half only. So that's what it looks like from the back. All right. Now then, with our stopper, we decide what we want. You can have a little one. You can have a longer piece. You can go along the whole thing. You can just have a little bit that sits at one end. You can have it in the center. It doesn't matter. You can have it at an angle as long as it holds the card up. So it's entirely up to you where you'd actually place it. So for instance, I think I'm going to take this bit and this bit here. That's what I'm going to cut off on mine. So I'm going to use my trimmer to do that. So I'm going to trim. I'm going to catch a piece of the other bit, but that's fine. So we've got that in there like that. And let's take a bit there. So they can be intrigued as to why the numbers are on their edge. Adds to the mystique, I think. So again, which bit are we going to use? That'd be fine like that. There we go. Now, depending on what you've got, because I've got a shape here, then I am going to add a bit of colour to this. And I will bring in the same colours, so I'm going to keep it the same. So I would need to finish this little bit off here. If you're using a sentiment, then you've only got the sentiment. So what I'm going to do is I'll just show you. If I do this very quickly, it might be all right to colour. It's not going to be that easy to colour when it's glued down because it gets raised up slightly. Now, how to raise this up? You could use foam tape, but sometimes that can be quite thick or thicker than you actually want because you don't need it very thick. So what I would suggest you do is we always have cut-offs of card when we're making stuff, cutting things off. Keep the strips, and then you can, instead of using foam tape, you can use 2 of these on the back. So let me show you. So if I do 2 or 3, depending on how high you want it, I'm going to do it just short of it. Yeah, and I'm going to need another piece the same length. If you want to use foam, you can use foam. I used to use foam, but other people have been using their cut-offs, and in actual fact, it gives a better finish because the foam is only going to be there unless you've got a thick piece of foam. And so in that way, it lays flatter and it's not likely to move in the post, you know, when you're moving it. So it builds up the height for you. So we can glue these on. Like so. Now you can just build, you can do it this way, or you just stick all the pieces together first. Probably would have been an easier way of doing it. Should have just done that. And then fold them over again. They're glued in place level. And then that gives you enough of a rise that once positioned, wherever you want to position it. Now, if you want it up higher, you can put it there. If you want to come to the front, you can put it about there. I wouldn't go too much. You could go there if you want it like that, and that gives you space to write, or in the back. If you've got dark card, you may need to put a little piece of white card here so that you can write on it as well. We need a little bit of an insert, but this card will take it, I think. And then, so that is high enough to actually hold that in place by using your card waste pieces. All right, so then that gets glued wherever you want it in position. So we open it up again. Oh, I'm going to have to just face this for a minute. Where do we want it? We want it. Do you want it like that? Yeah. So determine where you want to put it and then press. So that will then give you, oops, your finished easel card. There we go. Oh, I have to put a bit more glue on that in a minute. There we go. So that would be your easel card. All right. So I know some of you are still colouring and I need to finish mine off as well, but that's the easel card. So are there any questions? Do you want me to go over anything on that? I know most of you have made these already. So you have your base card scored down the centre with the fold coming in to the inside of the card. You have your topper, which I've made up with a card and then the topper. You could just have the topper, or it could be that you come in smaller and smaller. It's entirely up to you how you add your topper, but that is adhered to the bottom half of the fold. And then with the stopper in place, the card will then stay open like that. All right, any questions? Let me know if everything's all right for the minute. As I said, I'm going to finish this off and I will be adding some glitter. So the cards we've made this morning are these. So you can't actually really see them very well with the camera, can you? Right, no questions. Okay, so then we've got these two that we've done this morning, and then these are the two that I prepped earlier for you. Excellent. Okay, Nikki. So this is where we're at. If everybody's okay, any questions or not? As I said, I will finish my card off. Pop the glitter where I want it. You're welcome, Nikki. You're welcome, Helen. Thank you. Thanks very much. Thank you for joining me today. Continuing to help keep everybody going, I think. One day we will be back in our hall rooms again, and we'll be face to face so we can see each other and have a laugh. So hopefully that won't be too long. You're welcome, Susan. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll be back again in a fortnight. Probably be working on a single project that time, and I'm thinking it's going to be circular, so we can do something. So I haven't decided what yet exactly. I'll think of something. Thank you, Nicola. You're very welcome. Oh, Brenda, you've never done an easel card. Oh, how exciting. How exciting. So, yep. So we've done a few of these before, but pulled it back again. So I'm so glad you enjoyed it. You're welcome, Lucinda. And to everybody else who's joined, thank you very much for coming along. As I said, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and we'll do something. I think we'll do something round. I think, and I'll write to you all. For those of you that want me to do something with Lucinda stamp, Lavinia stamp. Sorry, Lucinda. You got your own brand of stamps out now. With Lavinia stamps, which you do not have to do. You can use other stamps to do it, but if you want them, then I'll write to you and see which kind of Lavinia stamps you're wanting to use. And I'll tell you which ones I've got so that you can have a look and then see which ones fit more into you if that's what you want to do. All right, and then we'll do that in a couple of weeks, in a little while's time, for those of you that wish to get some. Okay, thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your continuing support. Have a lovely couple of weeks, and I'll see you all again very soon. Take care, everyone. Oh, good luck, Brenda. Good luck with that, Brenda. That's really good. So take care, everyone. Mind how you go. Bye-bye.